Hello, coin collectors out there, fans of the international coins. We've got two Mexican pesos to share with you. The one on the left is one of the older ones. The one on the right is one of the newer ones. Now, I say older and newer as there was a cutoff, a very distinct cutoff between these two and the value of those coins. So that officially occurred December 1994 when Mexico devalued their peso against the US dollar. So what they did is essentially moved 3 zeros out of the value. So a 1,000 peso was now worth 1 peso. Now that happened as a result of the first international financial crisis ignited by capital flight. So what happened with capital flight is that a lot of people took their currency and just left the country. So they took it out. There wasn't enough currency remaining. So that currency the supply of that currency was down, so the price of it went up, everything got kind of hyperinflated, and so they needed to adjust for that and finally, bring it back to normal, so they devalued their currency. So this one right here on the left, worth pretty much nothing. The one on the right is worth 1 peso. You can still use this today, worth about 5 United States cents. In fact, the one on the left has been demonetized. The only place you can return these are national banks. You can't walk into a store in Mexico and still try and use one of these old coins. Now, a little bit about this coin. We'll start with this one right here. We're looking at the front of the coin. Now, this is a very mainstream kind of common image in Mexico that you might have seen before. It's the national emblem of Mexico, depicting a golden eagle perched on a prickly pear cactus devouring a snake above a half-wreath of oak and laurel below the words. So we've got, let me just recap all the stuff that I said was on this coin. So we've got a half a wreath of oak and laurel forming a semicircle down here. We've got Estados, Unidos, MEXICANOS in words going around the top. And then the center, let me adjust the light just for you. So in the center, we've got a Mexican eagle. It is eating a snake, and it's perched upon a prickly pear cactus. Now that's the same image that you see in the center of the coin right here. The Mexican eagle on a cactus eating a snake. Now let's flip it over. So on this side right here, we see a portrait of José Morelos in a general uniform. We see a couple other things on the coin. We see his name written going around that top right there. We see a mint mark M over here. We see 1 peso sign, and then 1985, the year that this coin happened to be produced. Now the mintages for 1985, very, very high. 1985, there were 985 million of these coins produced. The years this coin was produced was just for a short period of time, from 1984 until 1987. Its value is 1 peso, which is abbreviated 1 MXP. Its metal content is stainless steel, has a weight of 5.9 grams, diameter 24 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.85. Now, like I said kind of toward the beginning, this coin has been demonetized. It was officially demonetized November 15th, 1985, but I believe you can still walk into specific country-owned banks and like governmental banks and exchange this, but it probably wouldn't even be worth your time unless you've got a real lot of these. And if you've got a lot of these, they'll probably ask you a lot of questions, such as why you're hoarding pesos and not using them and not probably reporting them to the government. All right, now that's the old one. Let's bring in the new one right here. So as you can see in the center, the same exact design, and the same exact design going around the outside as well. So Estados Unidos Mexicanos in writing along the top, a wreath at the bottom with oak and laurel, and then the Mexican eagle in the center eating a cactus. When we flip it over, a little more interesting on this side. So we've got some imagery growing around the outside of the bimetallic coin. That imagery is actually from the Aztec calendar. So that imagery is from the Aztec calendar. It is the Ring of Splendor. So that's the official name for this particular design that you see going around the outside. The center, a little bit more generic. We have the 1, the peso sign, the mint mark, and then the date at the top. This coin was started to be made in 1996 and is still being used today. So it's years of mintage, 96 until today. Its value, like the other one, is 1 Mexican peso. However, they're still using this version of the coin. 1 peso translates to about 5 cents United States dollars. One of the more interesting characteristics, as you can see, is that it is a bimetallic aluminum bronze center. in a stainless steel ring. So the center has a bronze color to it, the outer ring has a stainless steel color to it. As far as the mintages go, I'll pull those up for you. In 2001, there are 208 million of these produced. So mintages on this one much lower than the old peso that we were looking at before. However, its value is much higher, so that makes sense. They didn't need to produce as much of these, much like in the United States, the $100 bills are produced less frequently than the $1 bills. All right, everyone, that's all I've got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're into coin collecting, please do check out some of the other videos on this channel. Thank you very much, everyone, and best of luck coin collecting out there. Enjoy.